Let me bring in Keith also into this conversation once again. Keith, how is this supposed to be a semblance of a representation of the world if two-thirds of this grouping is going in one direction and the rest are going in another? Donald Trump, in fact, used this platform for his politics as well. He said Justin Trudeau and Obama did not want members like Russia and China in this grouping, which of course has been an open secret in the G7 since a number of years. How is this grouping still relevant is the question I'm trying to ask, if the members within itself have opposing views. Keir Starmer, he said that they're announcing new sanctions on Russia. What exactly those sanctions are going to be, this is the first time Keir Starmer is attending a G7 summit after becoming the Prime Minister. How is this a semblance of the representation that the world needs at this point in time? Are they going to be helpful when it comes to de-escalating tensions between Russia and Ukraine? No. Are they going to be helpful when it comes to de-escalating tensions between Israel and Iran? No. It already seems to be a very top-heavy grouping which is in favor of Israel.
Well, I think you're right. Probably the participants on this program, you've got someone from the UK, former Assistant Secretary from the US, very distinguished people from India, were probably more representative of the world than the G7 was representative of the world. But Trump has showed that for the next 4 years, if this is going to happen again, and of course it is, somebody else will host it on the next occasion, he is just going to use it as a show. It's showtime whenever Donald Trump is around. And I think the other leaders realize that. So there is no point in it. I think there's also a consensus amongst the people here that if India can't get into the G7 and become G8, then the only relevant organization worldwide to bring together the world is the G20. But what matters is not just these summits. What matters is the follow-up. I remember in the old days, if I could say that, having not been a minister for a couple of decades, there was good follow-up at G7, G8 meetings. When countries talked about security and combating terrorism, you had actually meetings of those countries' ministers to follow it up. This does not seem to happen. It just seems to be yet another television show, like a Netflix movie, in which the President of the United States arrives, then he leaves whenever he wants to leave. Now, this is an excellent opportunity for those who are left to get together and talk about him. And the one thing that will really get to Donald Trump is something happening in the world that he is not invited to. So Carney has a unique opportunity in leading the G7 and the invited guests, G6 as you called it, to actually produce a really good communique which will unite the world without Donald Trump. And then I think if they did that, rather than make it look as if it's all over, then he will think twice about leaving a summit of this kind on the next occasion. You might as well have a summit of all the countries that have hosted the FIFA World Cup and say they're representative of the world. This needs to be serious, hard discussions. So many things are happening in the world, Vinette, as you've said. The Ukraine war, the Ukraine-Russian war, as we speak, bombs are dropping on Tehran and on Tel Aviv. These are the biggest issues of the day, which you would imagine they'd want to talk about. So I think my contribution is to say, I think we all agree there's no point in having this discussion anymore. Not this discussion, not yours. Yours is very relevant. But I'm talking about the G6 discussion, because the most powerful man has gone. Big opportunity for them to regroup and do a communique without him. And I think you will see him scuttling back to Canada at the first opportunity.